As we've reported, student loan debt is projected to top $1 trillion this year. Do I have your attention? $1 trillion, more than credit card debt. We need to figure out a way to make college more affordable. CNN contributor and former Education Secretary Bill Bennett is still with us. And joining the conversation, another former Education Secretary and Republican Senator from Tennessee, Lamar Alexander. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Senator Alexander, let's talk first about this idea of three-year degrees. You and I have spoken about this before. You're a big advocate of this. There are some schools across the country, I'm going to show these to you folks. They have three-year graduation programs. They are schools like Ball State, Bates College, Franklin and Marshall, Hartwick College, Judson, Lipscomb University, Southern New Hampshire University. There are others as well. Hartwick College in New York says that a bachelor's degree, a three-year degree, is going to cut your costs by about 15 grand a year for a first-year student. Obviously, economics is a big driver here, Senator Alexander. Why are you a proponent of, not for all kids, but for kids who can do it, a three-year college degree?
Well, time and money are the two things. The three-year degree is not for everybody, but I think for higher education, the three-year degree might be the equivalent of the fuel-efficient car, because take Hartwick College that you mentioned. I think their tuition and fees are like $43,000 a year. So if you do it in 3 instead of 4 years, you not only save the tuition and fees, you might save the $30 or $40 or $50,000 that you could earn during the year you've graduated and you're in the marketplace.
Yeah, you're out just 1 year earlier. You know, Bill, though, the conventional wisdom is that kids go to college to mature, to find themselves. I mean, I get a lot of grief for saying it's pretty expensive. It's an expensive way to find yourself. No other country in the world sees it that way, as a way to find yourself. And quite frankly, this isn't Generation X, when we created 24 million jobs over 10 years. I mean, 5 years in school and not being focused right away, it's expensive.
Yeah, I have 2 sons, private colleges. I won't tell you the bill, but it's I would have been good to win on one of those quiz shows, the Millionaire. But look, Lamar is raising very important questions here, and parents wonder about this. There's now beginning to be a literature, some very serious doubt, Christine, about this whole thing. There's a man named Peter Thiel who believes that this is the next bubble that's about to burst, that when you look at the investment, whether it's by the taxpayers in the state of Tennessee or by parents or a combination of both, the question is whether people are getting their value. People say, well, how can you argue with, going to Harvard? Look at Mark Zuckerberg and look at Bill Gates. 2 probably most famous and successful Harvard graduates both dropped out of Harvard. Could they have done this on their own? And did they really need Harvard to do it? Obviously, they didn't. Supposing people start to question this in a hard way, could we see some change? I studied the whole question of raising tuitions at colleges and universities. There are some legitimate reasons for raising. Other reason is they can do it because they can do it. They can get away with it because there's no number of members of the family, no sacrifice parents will not go through to send their kids to college. This may begin to get some questions.
Well, college tuition is up some 400% since the 1980s, and Bill, you make a very good point here. I mean, for 20 years, people took money out of their house to put their kids through school because they've been listening to us say your kid has to get a college degree to get ahead in the world. But I want to ask both of you, are we putting too much emphasis on bachelor's degrees? Should we be doing more emphasis on trade schools, vocational training, community colleges? Senator Alexander?
I think starting in the community college is a terrific idea. As I mentioned a little earlier, in Tennessee, you could go to a community college, live at home. Tuition's about $3,000 a year. If you qualify for a Pell Grant, if you're low income, it's even less. And then you might transfer to a 4-year college to finish your degree. That's one way to save college costs. And if you're not ready for that kind of college experience, Nashville Auto Diesel College turns out a lot of terrific mechanics, people who work in the auto industry. They make good incomes. They're well educated by the time they finish that job.
You know, Bill, what do you think? There's some great careers, the so-called ladder jobs, these skilled jobs. You can go on to become a small business owner. You can go on to employ other people. You don't necessarily need a 4-year degree. Are we misleading people by constantly pushing that you need to take on tens of thousands of dollars of student debt to get a 4-year degree in a job market where, unless you're in science, technology, engineering, math, there might not be a job?
Yes, Christine, we are, and there's some snobbishness in this, and there's some wrong understandings of utility. I remember a seminar I went to, supposedly 15 of the most intelligent people in the country, all with many postdoctoral degrees. There was a failure in the sprinkler system. We all started getting wet. Not a single person knew what to do. Not a single person knew what the heck to do. You know, it's not. Now, that's where we needed Lamar's community college graduate who knows how to fix things. You know, John Dewey said once, it's not enough for a man to be good, he's got to be good for something. And we need to remember the importance of practical knowledge, particularly in a world in which we live, in which we have so many more things that can break.
Thank you both. You know, Senator Alexander, I love your idea of the three-year colleges because for some kids this is going to make a lot of sense and save money for them, not for everybody, but while we're waiting to make college more affordable in general, it's something that if you've got a kid who's a top student, you might be, you might be able to do. But again, you got to be focused, and we can't. You know, we've got to be more serious about how we're going to educate our kids if we're going to compete in the world.
That's
Bill
right.
Bennett, Senator Lamar Alexander, thank you both for joining me. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Christine.
To win the future, we